Tonight in Yaoundé, the theme song and mascot of the 33rd edition of the African Cup of Nations in Cameroon will be made known. The ceremony is taking place at the multi-purpose sports complex in Yaoundé. And of course, today is the International Day of the Family, and Cameroon joins the commemoration to highlight the role the family plays at the foundation of national development. In this newscast, the Minister of Women's Empowerment and the Family, Professor Marie-Thérèse Abena-Ondua, will expatiate on the policies taken to protect the family in Cameroon. 15th of May 2021, good evening and welcome to the 7:30 News. I am Benin Bumagana in Yaoundé.
I urge you once again to put on your face masks, to wash your hands regularly, and to consult a physician or any other health personnel if you notice any symptoms. This is the only way to save lives and to curb the spread of the virus.
Once again, good evening and welcome. The contest or the ceremony to unveil the best selected works of the National Artistic Contest for the official anthem and mascot of the AFCON 2021 in Cameroon is taking place at the multi-sports complex, where our reporter Baldwin Sama van Kamer is standing by. Hello, Baldwin. Just where are we now with the ceremony? What can you tell us? Next few minutes to say that the ceremony is taking place in strict compliance with barrier measures taken by the government to fight against COVID-19, such as the aspect of physical distancing and compulsory wearing of face mask. We also hear that access to the Yaoundé multi-sports complex at this moment is exclusively and restrictively reserved for persons with an invitation card. And then it's also said that the Minister of Sport and Physical Education, President of COCAN 2021, is calling on the understanding civil responsibility, patriotism and discipline of all, and specifies that this ceremony is going to be live on the CRTV. We definitely are going to be getting bored in summer in the next few moments to give us exactly what is happening at the multi-sports complex right now. While waiting, let's get to talk about the other item on our newscast this evening. Cameroon joins the rest of the world to observe International Family Day on the theme Family and New Technologies. The theme comes timely as in this edition, as families, especially in Yaoundé, now use internet for studies. On the impact of these new information technologies on the kids, here is Victor Siga.
This is Adamu Idrisu's family in the Obili neighborhood of Yaoundé. In his home, he has made the use of new technology a companion of the children.
We are living in a scientific age whereby we cannot do without social media. I think with the social media, unlike television and cell phones that we have given to them in my house, we do as well encourage them to use it appropriately and use it only when it's needed.
Unlike Adamu's family, this mother in Damas is against the use of these ICTs unless in her presence and for educative purpose.
It is good when they are using to learn or to play, because a child needs to play every time, or to learn when it's possible to learn, not to see something that is wrong with his age.
Controlling the contents of social media like Facebook, for instance, remains an important duty to parents.
I have this tendency of checking their phone every morning and every night. And I make sure that if you are on the social media, you are purposely for study.
I used to take the time and then watch the TV with them. Now like this, I've told them to not watch some channels, and then I ask them after every time Who is the lesson that you have heard after this?
It is in this light that the 2021 World Family Day is observed under the theme Families and New Technologies, with emphasis on the impact on the well-being of families.
Like we said in the headlines, we are receiving as special guest in the 7:30 news today, the Minister of Women's Empowerment and the Family, Professor Marie-Thérèse Abenondoa, who is right here in the studio with us. Ma'am, good evening. And
good
welcome.
evening. Good evening.
As a mother, we're talking about International Day of the Family. As a mother, what gives you great pleasure when you sit back and look at your family?
I think it's a joy to see that when you are lucky to have a family, that family is moving on and maybe seeing the next generation. Mm-hmm. But for those who are not lucky to bear children, we are in Africa. You don't have to be a mother to bear a child to have the joy of enjoying motherhood. In our extended families, those who did not put to birth are very good mothers because they look after the other children in families. So it is good when you take care of a child to see that that child is moving forward and that something else is coming, and that when there is happiness.
Of course. We are celebrating the International Day of the Family at a time where we are registering a lot of delinquencies. They're talking about disturbing stories of group sex in schools and other stories that really disturb. Tell us, what is the social affairs or family affairs section of the ministry doing? Are they really doing their work?
Yes, of course. It is one of the most important missions that the head of state, His Excellency Paul Biya, assigned to us. And in the ministry, we have one technical unit that is in charge of the development of the family and the protection of the rights of the children. And in that technical unit, my collaborators carry out a very important work to canalize, to sensitize families on their responsibilities. And one of the most important things right now is the instability due to the fact that sometimes a man and a woman decide to live together without a legal bond. And when that happens, we go through what we call group marriages. We sensitize and we prepare them so that they know their responsibilities, and we give them that specific document that gives the woman, the wife, right to whatever the husband had. And it is also an opportunity for the children who are often born and delivered and don't have birth certificates. So we sensitize, we prepare for group marriages, we put the family in front of their responsibilities. They must know the duties. They have to bring up those children properly and make sure that they don't go wayward. Now, the family is faced with a lot of problems right now. And the problems are many. You know that the love is not as much as it used to be, and solidarity is not as much as it used to be. And when you add to that the socio-political crisis in the northwest and southwest, the Boko Haram crisis in the far north, Central African Republic in the east region, and with the IDPs, external and internal refugees, all that brings instability in the family, and it is a real problem, and the family has to really be channeled to assume the responsibilities. And when you add to that the coronavirus, it does not make things easy, because you have impoverishment of the family, the lack of means, and it leads to violence at all levels.
Yeah, we begin to understand when we see what is happening in schools, children gathering, and we're talking about group sex and some of the disturbing stories. We start asking the question that what is happening at the level of the family as much as what is happening at the level of the schools. Don't you think it's time to zoom a little more into family life?
Exactly. I think
policies towards that.
We do have policies. I think families are really running away from their responsibilities. Because when you put to birth children, you have the obligation to educate them. Education starts within the family. When a child is born, the first values he acquires, because the family is the basic unit of society. Right, and families have to play their role. It is not to the teacher, because by the time the child leaves to go to school, he must have received some education, and it's that basic education that the families have to give to the children before they send them to school. And now once they go to school, the parents should know what is going on in school. And when the children come back from school, the parents should also look after them, not let the house helpers do everything, or come back from work and start watching TV or being on WhatsApp, because if you do it, you are not fulfilling your duty as a parent. So the parents, the families really have to play their full role so that we will avoid seeing what we are seeing now with group sex and all types of violences we have in school. And this violence comes from homes, because when the home is unstable, you are going to have disturbances, and the children will not really know how to behave. So the families are called upon to play their full role and not abandon the children to the teachers or to babysitters.
We just seem to be passing by the theme, which is family and the use of new information technologies, especially for the children to be able to study.
Yes, it is extremely important. You saw that when coronavirus came, when it arrived in 2020, the school was closed to start off with. And luckily, the ministries in charge of education, primary, secondary, and higher education, very quickly went into it. Before that, the President of the Republic had distributed computers to university students. But when coronavirus came, the younger ones had to be, they could not stay out of school for long. So the teachers were trained to come to CRTV and give lessons. And those who had access to ICTs, they used those phones positively. Okay. Unfortunately, we need the control of those tools, because everything passes through those phones that the children have. We don't have a control to really delete what is bad for the children. And this is why we see this violence, this negative use of ICTs in schools, and we have group sex and violence, children killing each other or killing the teachers, and it is continuing, and we have to do something to stop it, to positively use ICTs.
There's been a lot of talk of the document Code de la Famille. That's our conclusion, Code de la Famille. We even hear that they've worked on the document, they finalized the document. So when are we going to have these family code, family guidelines in Cameroon?
Thank you. During the last parliamentarian session, His Excellency the Minister of State, Minister in charge of Justice, Keeper of the Seals, received a question about that, and he answered. He said that the family code will be part of the civil code, which is now under the process of finalization. And I think it's a unique opportunity for that document, because it will give the occasion to revisit our legislation and really to take advantage of our double heritage, the Napoleon Civil Code and the common law. And I'm convinced that we'll have a document that will satisfy, that will meet the need of the entire population. So that's the answer, because the Minister of State in charge of Justice gave that answer during the last parliamentarian session.
Thank you very much, Professor Marie-Thérèse Abenondoa, the Minister of Women's Empowerment and the Family, answering our questions this day as we celebrate the International Day of the Family. But one thing she said very strong is that parents and families must pay closer attention to the moral and educational upbringing of their kids, so that we should not have the kind of stories that we've been having. Once again, thank you for coming.
Thank you, and a happy International Day. And all families should continue to respect barrier measures to bar the road to coronavirus.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Just 1 minute, you stay with us. We go quickly to the Yaoundé multi-sports complex, where Baldwin Sama should be standing by right now. Baldwin Sama, today, the official anthem and mascot of the AFCON 2021 are supposed to be unveiled. So it's taking place right there, and we've gotten clear instructions that there's a respect of physical distancing and the wearing of face masks. So, Baldwin Sama, just where are we right now? What is happening? Tell us about the proposed items and what is happening at the sports complex.
to you, Benin Boumagana. Welcome to the Yaoundé Multipurpose Sports Complex, where at this point in time, most of the guests invited by the Ministry of Sports and Physical Education have started arriving here. Most of them are already seated in this hall where we'll have this ceremony that actually begins from 9 p.m. But before that, around 8:30 p.m. tonight, we are going to have some traditional dances to be performed by some selected groups by the Ministry of Sports and Physical Education. Members of the organizing committee for tonight's ceremony are presently busy dotting the I's and cutting the T's to ensure that today's ceremony goes on hitch-free here at the Multipurpose Sports Complex. I saw a while ago the two presenters of tonight's ceremony, Diane Gassa and Valividi Kosumaru, exchanging notes and consulting for a fluid presentation. And talking about the ceremony proper, Benin Boumagana, at the start of the ceremony, we are going to have a beautiful presentation of the glorious days of Cameroon's football under the stewardship of President Paul Biya. We are equally going to have a welcome speech by the Minister of Sports and Physical Education, Professor Narcisse Mwele Kombi, and equally the unveiling of the 3 best mascots out of the 25 proposed mascots, and equally the unveiling of the 3 best anthems out of the 100 proposed anthems. They will be unveiled and presented here, and Cameroonians will have the opportunity to choose via the different platforms of the organizing committee and the Ministry of Sports and Physical Education. They will have to select the best mascots and the best anthem out of the 3 proposed in each category. We are talking about the mascot and the anthem. And the producer of tonight's event, Robert Ekukole, assisted by Raymond Joya Lindu, are busy working in the outdoor broadcast van to ensure that Cameroonians watch a beautiful ceremony tonight as from 9 p.m. here at the Yaoundé Multipurpose Sports Complex, where it's going to be live on CRTV, CRTV Sports and Entertainment, and likewise CRTV Web. Back to you, Benin Boumagana.
Thank you very much, Baldwin Samath and Kamer. Well, let's continue to talk other things in the news right now. 18 junior parliamentarians and 7 models from the Parliamentary Assembly of Cameroon have joined their voices together to encourage their peers to actively participate in the development of the country. This was in a ceremony organized earlier today at the International Relations Institute, IRIC. It was in the presence of the ambassador of Equatorial Guinea to Cameroon. Clarence Nge spoke to some of them and brought back these reactions.
My impression after this is to educate the public about gender equality. Well, in our society today, I think if women and men are being given equal rights, then the economy is actually going to boom. So today our impression after this is to support the youthful population in all the domains, mainly the educational domain, the social and also the political domain. We are encouraging the young population to engage themselves in entrepreneurial and also let them work hard. So we are there to support them. So our own message for the young population is that young population, you have to engage heartily in entrepreneurial, because we all know that the youthful population is relying on technology.
Our special page on national unity. In the Northwest region, the commander of the 5th Joint Military Region, Brigadier General Kavale, has observed that localities which actively collaborate with the defense and security forces are experiencing relative stability. He recently visited Menchum and Donga Mantung divisions, where he offered foodstuffs and medical aid to locals, attributing the division gradually toward normalcy to the partnership between the military and the population. Kilo Valerie Saala reports from Bamenda.
Menchum division from the skies. It appears like a build-up to a classic military combat operation, but it's a mind-charming offensive in previous separatist flashpoints.
You have to stand strong, because if you say no to Amba, Amba will not stay in this place. And let me tell you, the defense and security forces are here to protect you and secure you. Yes.
Foodstuff, medical and transport logistics aid from the military to the residents, who in turn offer traditional recognition. It happening in Eso, Furawa, and Wum, localities in Menchum Division. And also in Duin, Dongamantung Division, where the defense and security forces are keen on consolidating their military gains.
We like the way he has come to beat us. In fact, we want peace. We want peace.
In a region where civilian loyalty to the conflict parties are extremely unpredictable, this is another battle fought not with guns, but with military diplomacy.
Beautiful pictures there, Kilo Varalisa. Let's go over to the West region, where the defense forces of the Rapid Intervention Brigade B have intensified strides of late to re-enhance civil-military cooperation. The forces in the southwest, littoral and west regions, led by Colonel Eli Romance Mezizo, are also carrying out a lot of humanitarian activities, as you hear in this report by Ngu Henry.
The Rapid Intervention Brigade BRI in Bafoussam coordinates the activities of the Command and the Service Battalion in Bafoussam, the Kutaba Airborne Battalion in the Nun Division, the Armored Reconnaissance Battalion in Douala, and the Special Amphibian Battalion in Tiku in the Southwest region. Forces of the brigade have carried out this exercise to demonstrate what they do to preserve peace, stability and the prosperity of Cameroon.
We are involved in the campaign training of the Rapid Intervention Brigade, in which we are due to work with helicopters, which is not our usually means. This is the first time we are working in this type of aircraft.
The forces have also been contributing to ameliorate the living conditions of the population.
We usually participate in civil and military actions. Like last time in Bafoussam, we are due to help the population in their common duties. But in this configuration, we can use this helicopter with our own skills. We can use the helicopter to provide some food to displaced persons where aircraft or vehicles cannot reach.
The commander of the Rapid Intervention Brigade, Colonel Eli Romance Mezuizu, who supervised the exercise, expressed satisfaction and enjoined the forces to continue to ensure civil-military cooperation.
It is worth noting that the Kutaba Airborne Battalion in the Nun Division is leaving no stone unturned to secure Cameroonians. Idris Ele, Ngu Henry for the news in Kutaba.
And I am Benen Bumagana in Studio 5 of the CRTV Production Center, Yaoundé. And as Cameroon warms up to celebrate its National Day on May 20, some veteran journalists have been recounting their experiences of the advent of the unitary state in 1972. They talked to Lekiate Gertrude Asonganzi of CRTV Center.
1972 will always be one of the most historic years for Cameroon, as the young nation hosted the 8th edition of the African Nations Cup and had its form of states change from federation to unitary. Veteran journalist Peter Isuka read the head of state's message in English to announce the first steps towards that move.
As I said, I was blessed to be the one who read this message in the English language. The referendum went well, and the majority of the people voted for it. And so the day of the referendum was declared the National Day, which is being celebrated until today.
After the referendum, the annual celebration in Yaoundé were organized at the National Assembly Boulevard with a lot of peculiarities.
May 20, of course, you understand that we had our own peculiarities. In a one-party state, you don't expect too much variety. It was a regimented kind of system, the same things over and over, and strict respect. So the kinds of liberties you have now, like in reporting and painting the environment, talking about officials, the color of their clothes, their demeanor and things like that, were not really part of what we did in our own time.
The media icons both say a lot has changed in the way the coverage around the event is done today compared to the early days. In spite of the many challenges, the two veterans believe that the day is quite important and must be used as a real stepping stone in consolidating national unity.
And we go over quickly to Betua in the East region, where we are still to hear the complete story of this celebration of Ascension. And Elizabeth Bonbonne Akbo completes that story.
Muslims in Abombang, headquarters of the Opanyong, converge on the Quartier Aouza Mosque on the day of Ramadan, grateful to Allah for the promising weather. Attentively, they followed the message delivered by the Imam of the Abombang Central Mosque, Seidu Amadou, calling on all Muslims to put to continuous practice all the good things they learned during the 30 days of the Ramadan month. Worshipping with the Muslim community in Abombang was the Minister of the Public Service and Administrative Reform, Joseph Lee, a son of the Opanyong. The Muslims expressed their gratitude to Minister Lee for his presence amongst them and also for gifts of rice, salt, flour, sugar, and a cow he offered to them.
When they have a ceremony, we used to do everything so that we should be together.
Be it at the Crise the King Roman Catholic Parish in Corbicon, Betua, where the East Regional Governor Griguan Vongo and his entourage commune on Ascension Day, or at the Église Presbyterian Camerounese Betua Station, the message was the same. The Ascension of Christ brings hope to the Christians as illustrated in the book of Ephesians 4, verse 12.
We are people of hope. It is the last mystery of the Easter of Jesus Christ. After his death, he went back to the Father. It means that our destination, our last destination is not here on the earth. Our last destination is to be in the paradise with the Father.
The goodness of the Ascension must be visible in the lives of the Christians who are expected to be witnesses of Christ to the ends of the earth. God's shepherd emphasized for the Christians to make a difference. In strict respect of the barrier measures against the coronavirus, the Ascension Day feast in the land of the rising sun continued in homes and other leisure sports.
The late Martin Aristide Leopold Okuda, one-time Minister of the Economy, Planning and Regional Development, has been posthumously decorated as the National Officer of the Order of Valor. He was decorated by the Minister in charge of Special Duties at the Presidency of the Republic, Philippe Baringamboa, after a requiem mass celebrated at the Mary Midjeto Sanctuary, Etudi, by the Archbishop of Yaoundé, Jean Barga. Constantine Baum reports.
This is a kind of funeral where greatness is celebrated. Such a dance for the people of the Etudi clan is reserved for accomplished individuals, such as former Minister Martin Aristide Leopold Okuda. The dance to celebrate and send a message to the ancestors to receive another great one coming. The dance set the stage for the last Requiem Mass celebrated by the Archbishop of Yaoundé, His Grace Jean Barga, and the Bishop of Sang Malema, His Lordship Christophe Zoua. Representing the head of state is the Minister of Special Duties at the Presidency, Philippe Baringamboa. The personalities at the funeral, including ministers, senior government officials, clearly explains the greatness of the statesman.
The minister is a very great man of state. I have a great memory because the first burst of African Institute of Computer Science had given by him.
According to the homily of His Grace Jean Barga, Martin Aristide Leopold Okuda is an example of a humble, very open and down-to-earth person whose values touch not only his immediate family and Etudi clan, but the nation. He was a pillar, mentor and a motivator. A special condolence message was sent by the head of state to the bereaved family that described the former minister as a loyal and committed citizen, a great loss to Etudi, the CBGM and Cameroon. he was posthumously decorated as an officer of the National Order of Valor. He served as Minister of Economy, Planning and Regional Development from 18 March 2000 to December 8, 2004, where he became Minister of Public Works. Okuda was a member of the Executive Committee of the CBDM. He died in Paris on April 9, 2001 at the age of 69.
Thank you very much, Constantine Bomis, with that report. That we come to the end of this edition of the newscast. At 8:30, Alta Bardino will be here, and you would be able to know how far you've gone at the multi-sports complex with the unveiling of the national anthem and the mascot. God bless you.
I urge you once again to put on your face masks, to wash your hands regularly, and to consult a physician or any other health personnel if you notice any symptoms. This is the only way to save lives and to curb the spread of the virus.